at it like we left something. What's going on, y'all? It's your man Furious Styles, your hip-hop loving, video game playing, time traveling homie from YouTube that's been checking himself before wrecking yourself was a globally recognized epidemic highlighted by award-winning actor O'Shea Jackson Sr. And welcome to yet another episode of my Retro Report Card, the show for retro gaming collectors by a retro gaming collector, where I do the guesswork and seeing if games from back in the day are worthy of being in your collection, or hell, even worthy of your time playing. See, if I was doing this back in 2019 and you waited a couple years, you might not have even bought Anthem. Yeah. Marinate on that for a while. So I told y'all in my last episode that I wasn't going to do another horror game for a while, and guess what? I'm not. Yay! Don't it feel good to not have your homie from the internet not lying to you? Not like Prince Babatunde in Nigeria. I'm still waiting for my richest Babatunde. Pony up, mother! No, today I got an interesting one for you. We're hitting the track. The racetrack. And if there's nothing that your homie Fury loves more than video games, hip-hop, and for some weird reason, the smooth sounds of James Taylor, it's futuristic dystopian game shows like The Running Man or Smash TV. I mean, nothing like regulating on fools and winning fabulous prizes at the same time. And racing games where I have to shoot folks because I'm not that fast. Hey, a turtle with good aim beats an overactive rabbit every time. The same can't be said for coyotes and roadrunners, but I digress. And I think this love for motorcade madness didn't start with Twisted Metal, Carmageddon, or even F-Zero. No. It started a little bit earlier with Death Trap on DOS. What the hell is that? No, I said get that away from me. I said Death Track. Oh yeah, that's my baby. Who remembers Death Track on DOS? Well, big ups to you, all two of you. Either way, I had such fond memories of the insane personalities and the cars, and for 1989, the graphics were dope. Oh, and the bounties? Especially when this guy showed up. Good times, good times. Either way, when I found out this game existed, oh, and shout out to my hero Mac McMuscles, well, I decided to give it a try, because it's right up my alley. I just didn't think we'd be going back so far, but here we are, going back to October of 1993. Alright, so I'm still workshopping catchphrases, so y'all just gonna have to bear with me these next few weeks. Whew. To infinity and be. What the heck? What kind of psychopath delivers mail like that? Trademark infringement of the. Man, these fools work quick. Okay, to as far as Disney will let me go, and probably no further than that. Damn. Was gangsters really dressing like this? Dressed like Jonathan Taylor Thomas. I'm dressed like the kid from Blank Check. Was that Jonathan Taylor Thomas? I'm just like every black kid from an early 90s sitcom. And that's how you do disappointment, Brighton McClure. Man, I hope he's still acting. Wherever you are, God bless you, Richie. And today we're dusting off a weird one. Yep, it looks like story time. So when I bought my PS5 and my Xbox Series X, yeah, listen, okay, I'm a retro gamer, but damn, I'm still waiting for GTA 6 too, in order to make another level of systems. So I had to look for 6 more systems to make Cool 24. I really gotta do a video showcasing that. And of course I was gonna get some of the big ones that I'm missing, like the Nintendo Wii and the Nintendo GameCube and the Sony PS3. My baby got me that one. Love you. Aww. But to round it out, I did find some systems that I didn't really initially have my eye on. And lo and behold, I found a Panasonic 3DO for 150 bucks. And this brings us to the game that we're looking at today. Futuristic racing shooter, Crash and Burn. From developers, Crystal, y'all ain't dead yet, Dynamics. Weirdly enough, this is the first game actually developed by Crystal Dynamics. And even weirder than that, this is the pack-in game for the Panasonic 3DO. Now, seeing as mom and pops were definitely not going to drop $699 on a 3DO for 7-year-old Fury S, especially when we had a perfectly functional SNES at home, I kind of realized why I'd never heard of this game until like this year. I mean, not like 1993, but like 2020. You know what? I just need to do a better job at picking and choosing when I need to get meta. So what could Lil Fury S Styles been playing at this time? Well, like the rest of the world, Mortal Kombat. Even though knowing how violent it was, I was kind of surprised when my parents got it for me as a present. On the Super Nintendo, and then I realized why. Yeah. The real question is, did I get a good deal on Crash and Burn, or did I just crash and burn? Who writes this crap? This being a pack-in game, I figured the price would be low and it'd probably be really easy to find. And for the most part it was. For a complete copy of this game, complete being original game, case, and manual in acceptable condition, I paid a grand total of $28.20. Not my most insane buy, but did I overreach for this one? Well, according to the fine folks at pricecharting.com, insert tagline here, this game is valued at $25 even, meaning I bought this at a loss of $3.20. Okay, like 2 Prices Right losing horns in the same video? I don't deserve that. We ain't got no other soul crushing sounds? Was that the whammy sound from Press Your Luck? I'm gonna be crying myself to sleep on that one. If this is your first time watching my retro report card, I review these games under the universally accepted system of the 5-point grading scale, looking at graphics, sound, control, fun factor, and I lost money, so I better get $3.20 of fun, and challenge. Now this is the first real time on the PlayStation Killer that was supposed to kill the PlayStation before the PlayStation ever came out. So essentially the Panasonic 3DO is a Terminator. Or did me screwing up the timeline make this joke completely irrelevant? Hey man, is Terminator a thing here? What do you mean the shoes? In Crash and Burn, we're taken to the year 2044. Oh wait, I already did this episode. After some kind of world war where nukes were involved. But don't worry kids, they're still racing. With guns. The racers are looking to become the Death Drone champion. And that's it. That's all I could find story-wise. I have a manual and there's nothing in the game, and hell, even the Wikipedia page was useless. I mean, the economy is still good because you win money for races, but I don't know who's running this crap. I don't know if this Death Drone has fans or anything. Like, there's no crowds or cheering of any level, so we're off to a real shallow start. But disappointing lack of story aside, is this futuristic dystopian racer a bona fide speed demon? Or a hoopty sitting up on blocks? Let's pop it in and find out. Okay, so when we start off this game, we see there's only 3 modes. This is about to be a short video. And 2 of these modes are playable. See, this is definitely what going in blind looks like, because this looks like a straight jackknife. So once we finagle with the limited options on the, option screen, we're given the choice of rally or tournament. Whatever option you pick, you're immediately taken to the choose your car screen, which with a keen eye, you realize this is a one-player racing game. 1993 racing game. And it's only 1 player. Okay. I'm gonna look at my collection and try to justify this somehow. So the earliest racing game that I have is Pole Position 2, and that came out in 1986 and was the pack-in game for the Atari 7800, which is fine because it was practically 1 player in the arcade, so that gets passed. Okay, so the next one is, let's see here, RC Pro-Am on the NES, which came out in 1988. And guess what? Also 1 player. Oh, okay, maybe multiplayer racing games took a while to get to. Okay, then we have Ivan Iron Man Stewart's Super Off-Road on NES, and that came out in 1989. That was 4 players. Okay, it's not split screen, but fine. Super Mario Kart, which I do have, came out in 1992. Okay, maybe split screen with these graphics might have been too much at this time, but having a single player game with 0 story, well that's just wiggity whack. Even in this age, in 1993, Anyways, I start off on Rally to get a feel for the game, and we meet your 6 playable characters that all look like they raided the rejected costume pile over on the Mortal Kombat set, and their vehicles. Not that it really matters much, because their canned hella 90s promos is about the most personality or story that you're gonna get from these guys. There's Fang, some kinda American veteran who drives Hammerhead, the firepower heavy car. Druger, who looks to be some type of German scientist or bureaucrat. I don't know, but he drives Vortex, the car with the best handling. Tasman Twix, who I guess is some type of Aussie Mad Max type terrorist or mercenary, and drives Caretaker, the most balanced vehicle. Max a Million, who, I don't know, he's a possibly Italian clown doctor or something. This dude's accent is so garbage I can't even tell where he's from. And who's ugly as hell assassin is apparently the fastest car in the game. Claw, who is a Japanese metalhead geisha and drives Sniper, and is just as balanced as Caretaker, but I guess they needed a female driver. And finally, the cherry on top of this crap sundae, this British rock and roll reject named, Rocker, who drives Flatliner, the car with an acceleration edge. My soul literally died looking at this roster of such uninteresting characters. But the only thing more cringe than looking at these guys are the cringy as hell intros.
If you want to know my secret, just get behind me at 400 miles per hour. I'll drop a few toys of joy on the track for you to play with. Then you'll understand.
I like to destroy racers in many different ways, just to keep from being bored. My favorite tactic is to flash the target with a bright light, then finish him off as he stumbles around the track blind.
I love close-in combat. I've survived this long because I live by two credos. Number one, everyone is your enemy. And number two, a dead enemy can't kill you.
Damn it, bro, you got a gun and an eye patch. How do you manage to still look uncool? Either way, you get 5 courses to choose from. Crash Course, Whiplash, Shockwave, Firestorm, and Wasteland. So I'm assuming there must be some different traps or backgrounds associated with these names, so I go ahead and try Shockwave. I'm treated to the same damn intro I was given by Tasman Twix, who apparently is the circuit champion around these parts. I'm ready to start my engine, and I'm amped up and ready to ride until I hear this. Is a dog bark being used as an instrument? I mean, what the hell is this? Listen, if this was a showcase for this machine, then show the hell out! And it's not that this is just not my type of music, no. I mean, if you watched episode 1, I was raving about the rock-centric soundtrack of Lollipop Chainsaw. But this is using what you have to your advantage. Now, alright, you already heard this monstrosity, right? Let's look at, okay, here we go. Magic Johnson's Fast Break came out in 1989 for the NES. This is the intro song. Sorry. It just doesn't make any sense how bad the music is. There's only 5 songs on this entire game, and they get repeated, and they all sound bad. I'm supposed to be talking about the graphics right now, but the sound is so damn blaringly bad, it's hard to stay on track. Pun intended, because even the sound effects are off track. I mean, I shoot my gun, and the sound goes off like seconds after the blast. Like, when it comes to it, I can barely find anything good to say about the sound. I mean, there might be some freak of nature out there that thinks the intros are so bad that they're good.
Let's go kick some tail!
Ugh, real freaks. But I'm not one of them. I mean, I guess the engines don't sound too bad, but that's not enough to save how abysmal this sound is. Let me get back to the graphics. And well, despite the fact the graphics aren't mind-blowing by 2025 standards, once you realize they did this in 1993, you gotta give props where they're due. I told you, I was playing Mortal Kombat on SNES at this time. And while I don't have the SNES copy of Mortal Kombat, I still have it on Sega CD, and this is what it looked like. Maybe it's my crappy HDMI converter, but this looks like butt. And of the home console versions, this is supposed to be the most graphically superior version. So yeah, these characters may have aged like milk in the coolness department, but in all honesty, despite the lack of menus, the layout is good. The use of FMV, which is definitely in style at this time, is fantastic and fluid. And even despite how basic as hell the racing looks, the visuals are really good and does have some great ideas. For example, while you're racing, you might incur some damage, and if your ride gets too shot up, your HUD starts to malfunction, messing up the visuals on your damage monitor, speedometer, your ammo counter, and even making it impossible to see what place you're actually in or what lap you're on. A neat feature indeed, but then there's other innovations in this game that are more annoying than cool. For example, there are drones on each track that you can kind of tell by their silver and purple color scheme. Now, despite looking in the manual, I have no idea what their function is supposed to be, other than to get in your way and, if you're really inexperienced, make you think you're making traction, despite the fact they're not even in the race. If you run into them, they hit your screen with some negative filter for a few seconds, which I guess is supposed to be a shock to your system. Or system shock. Either way, it's more of an annoyance than anything. But if you're able to blast these fools, you get a cool $100 in your winner's purse. That is, if you finish in the top 3. See, in either mode, if you don't finish in the top 3 of a race, you don't progress, and have to use continue, which is a really dumb component of this game. Especially afterwards, where they show your actual standing, and honestly, unless you're pulling bronze in all of the races, it's kind of hard not to become circuit champion, which is what happens if you are in first of the overall standings after all 5 races, in which you get this screen. No terrible background music, no animation, just this screen, congratulating you on becoming the circuit champion with the effort of wishing happy birthday to that weird guy at work that you avoid because he won't stop talking your ear off about One Piece, which you've never seen an episode of. So I'm the only one. Really? After rickety-wrecking my competition in the rally mode, I decided I was ready for the tournament mode, which was described in the manual as this is the real crash and burn experience. So why even have a fucking rally mode? You get this screen acknowledging you picked tournament mode, whatever, and then pick your racer as you did last time. Except this time, you're having to go through all of the courses, starting with Crash Course. So pretty much going through the same screens. I get ready to race, and it's the same freaking background as the Shockwave tracks. Pretty sure the layout's different, but the background stuff and hazards are literally the same exact thing. The water and rocky terrain that slow you down, the same looking drones, the same everything. Besides a couple of these weird sky tracks on a few courses, there is nothing different. Like, what is the use of these course names besides sounding intimidating in the 90s? Nothing. What the hell? So, besides having to do everything I did in the rally mode, the only other difference from the rally mode is money actually means something here. Despite the fact you get 2 G's for winning, $750 for pulling second, and $500 for a bronze finish, as well as $100 for each drone you pop, $500 for each racer you drop, and a G for dropping the circuit champion. Oh, and another 2 G's if you can get a lap record. In rally mode, it's just a feather in your cap. In the tournament, you can use the money to upgrade your weapons, armor, and some other goodies that might help you against the competition. I did at least see somewhat of a difference with these upgrades, especially with the energy in gun weapons, and maybe a bit with the armor. Now, I've talked about the sound and some surprisingly decent graphics, but what about the controls, which is probably one of the more important parts of a driving game? Well, oddly enough, I don't know if the controls actually mean anything. Seriously, like, speed control means nothing here. There's no turning into turns or staying on the road. While it's reactive, it doesn't matter what you do. There's no rhyme or reason to how you're controlling your vehicle. Like, I did play a race as Druger, who is supposed to have the best handling of the group. But honestly, I didn't notice a difference between him being slow as crap, so handling meant nothing. The default control layout is okay, but other than that, the controls are kind of a waste. Unfortunately, they just don't matter much. Alright, I'm gonna touch on fun factor, but this is gonna be kinda short, because I really ain't got much to say. As I progressed through the game, I realized reviewing this game was more of a chore than anything else. Like, I was mindlessly racing, and it almost seemed like time was standing still. Without really any story or anything to look forward to in progression that may have made racing a bit easier, I realized what this game actually was. A display of what the Panasonic 3DO could actually do. This was a showcase, not a game, and it showed. There's a lot more sizzle than steak, and unfortunately, it really makes this title more of a novelty or curiosity more than a must-play game. So after all of this, or lack thereof, where does that leave us when it comes to Crystal Dynamics' first effort in the very first 3DO game? Was this money well spent, or did I have a better chance of investing my money in Enron? And as always, before I hit it with that judgment, let me go ahead and lay down something that I learned while researching this game. But the real question is, for such an obscure title, was I able to find anything? Weirdly enough, yeah, I was. So despite Crash and Burn only selling 30,000 copies in the first month, the game is actually Game Fan Magazine's best driving game of 1993, beating out Cyber Race, Mega Race, and Ridge Racer. And that's the more you know. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Alright, so I'm pretty sure y'all know where your man is about to go with this, but let's go ahead and talk about it. Graphics. Look, I know this is supposed to be a retroactive review, and I swear it is. It still looks okay. Not amazing, but okay. Given what year it came out, this is where the most impressive part of it comes in. I think sometimes nostalgia can blind us sometimes from actually getting a good review, but truth be told, I have no obligations to this game. I mean, yesterday was the first time I ever played it. Given what year it came out, this is where the most impressive part comes in. But most of the car models are pretty cool in that year of 20XX kind of way. The FMVs, as corny as they are actually really well used, and they actually look pretty decent. For 1993, this is a pretty game. And in 1993, this game should probably serve as a benchmark for home console graphics. I mean, the most impressive game graphically at this time probably would have been Star Fox, and that was released about 8 months ago. And despite being a superior game, it's not superior graphically. Not to mention, we're about 2 years away from the Sony PlayStation and the Sega Saturn dropping. So at this second, the Panasonic 3DO is the best system graphically, and it shows. I'm gonna give it a 4.0. Yeah, boy! Sam. Okay, let's get the good out of the way. I can hear most everything, the quality is decent, and the roar of the engine is, well, alright. Now the rest. Sound effects are subpar. They're decently timed, but the times that they aren't are really glaring. Acting as a whole is cringeworthy. But if you're into that whole it's so bad it's good situation, then maybe you might find it okay. Fortunately, I'm just not one of those people. The music is just awful. And seeing that there's only 5 songs on the entire game, it's a huge letdown. I'm gonna take the high road. I'm gonna be generous with this. I'm gonna give it a 2.0.
It's wiggin' whack!
Controls. Okay, they work. But when there's no strategy on how to use them, especially like during tight turns where there's a lot of them, it's meaningless. Yeah, swerving out of the way of blasted vehicles or drones works okay, but it seems like landmines, which are supposed to be stationary, almost follow you wherever you go. Not to mention, weaving to avoid somebody on your tail that's just lighting you up works like 50% of the time. So this puts me into kind of a weird predicament. So I'm gonna take the high road and I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 2.5.
Whatever, man.
Fun factor. Usually this is the most important part of a game for me. And usually if it scores pretty high, I'm usually pretty excited to do the video. This was the hardest video to do because I had such a hard time getting through this game. There's nothing engaging about this game. There's nothing to keep you going or keep you motivated to see it all the way through. I didn't beat the tournament mode, but I didn't feel like I lost out on anything not doing it. And no game should make you feel like that. I mean, if you drop the ball, you should feel some form of disappointment. Now this is just an example, but I was also playing Until Dawn on PS4, and one of my characters, Ashley, ends up getting her head ripped off pretty close to the end of the game from a stupid decision that I decided to make. And I restarted the entire game. Yeah, it feels like mania, but I'm really connected to the game and I kind of wanted to see it go all the way through on a perfect run. Unfortunately, with Crash and Burn, I don't feel that connection. fact, there's no connection. And even worse, there's no idea of strategy or an inkling of the best way to play this game to get the best results. This is a game with terrible gaming design, minimal features, and no constants that help blend them together cohesively. Not to mention, no multiplayer and a bare amount of ways to play. It just doesn't hold up. I'm giving the fun factor a 1.5. Challenge. Now, this is a very difficult game to play, mainly because there's no reasonable way to find out how to play. I mean, besides trial and error, and even then, it may only work that time. I used different racers with varying degrees of success. There were times where cars just blew past me with no rhyme or reason on different tracks. My armor seemed to hold up sometimes, but then would get Swiss cheese on other tracks. With the upgrades, there were some improvements, but other times I would just get outclassed. Either way, this game is too wonky and unbalanced to get a hang of, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a challenge rating of expert. This was a rough one, y'all. I'm sorry. I mean, I had high hopes for this game. Even with the ratings where I felt like I was being a little bit more generous, Crash and Burn on 3DO gets a retro report card grade of an F. I really wanted to like it, but this is all sizzle and zero steak. A beautiful game graphically, and unfortunately, nothing else. But Crystal Dynamics would get better, and 3DO would get some better games. Unfortunately, their first time at bat is a swing and a miss. And my fellow collectors and crate diggers, unless you're trying to get the whole collection, this game ain't worth it. And I gotta cheer myself up. I think I'll listen to that Souls of Mischief 93 till infinity. Seems kind of appropriate here, don't it? And I wish that Wu-Tang Clan album would hurry up and drop. Wait, I got the watch. And I got the album at home. The power of time and space is hard, y'all. But if you know of another game that we probably need to go ahead and test out to see if it belongs in our collection, yo, hit me up on that Facebook or Insta or TikTok, X or Twitter or whatever we're calling it that might get me burned at the stake in 1993 at Fury S Styles. One word, Z at the end. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.